After the fifth-generation Corvette, CI5 was a resounding success, earning top marks from owners and experts. Expectations were enormous for its successor. In 1998, the CI5 was named Car of the Year by Motor Trend, and in 2001, it won a similar award from Automobile magazine. From 2000 to 2002, it consistently appeared in Car and Driver's annual top 10. Sales soared, reaching near full production capacity in Bowling Green, with 33,000 units annually. Despite initial skepticism, the C5's success led Chevrolet to develop its successor. Welcome to a new video. Today we uncover the history of the C6 Corvette in detail. If you enjoy this type of content, subscribe to our channel. It's free. Now let's begin. Little did skeptics suspect that the best Corvette history was about to be written. It would be described as the best Corvette ever created. Following its debut, Car and Driver published an article calling the new generation the CI5 and the 1116, suggesting it wasn't an all-new model, but rather a major revision of existing ideas. And in a way they were right. Approximately 70% of the parts and components were new, according to Chief Engineer Dave Hill. The C5 already offered superior features to the competition at a more reasonable price. Given the conservatism of American automakers and their reluctance to change what works, a path of evolution was chosen in every aspect, from the quality of the interior materials to handling, not to mention the increased power. Unlike all of its predecessors, the C6 was the first Corvette in over half a century that wasn't developed in isolation from the rest of the product line. The same team that worked on the Corvette update was also involved in creating the now underrated Cadillac XLR. The XLR was the priority, as it was to be released first. General Motors placed high hopes on this folding roof roadster, envisioning it as a flagship for its luxury brands. In fact, engineers and designers were strictly prohibited from beginning work on the C6 until the XLR was completed. To a large extent, this restriction influenced the final design of the C6. According to Teixeira, assistant chief engineer, the team was to develop the Cadillac first, avoiding any similarities that would suggest the Corvette was secondary. However, while working on the XLR, the team never lost sight of where the Corvette needed to be improved. Dave Hill, the chief engineer, described it this way: "During the years the C5 was on the assembly line, we were constantly thinking about how to improve it, how to overcome the compromises of the C5. We wanted to create a car that looked sophisticated, yet offered the driver a special, unparalleled feeling behind the wheel. We knew a lot was expected of us, but we wanted to exceed everything." Tom Peters was responsible for the design of the C&C. His passion for military aviation inspired him to look at the second-generation Corvette and the F-22 Raptor fighter, a symbol of advanced design and engineering. One of the key areas in which the C6 needed to surpass the C5 was aerodynamics. To achieve this, a new team was formed with specialists from the factory racing team. The goal was to achieve a balance that would work equally well on the track and the road. In its exterior design, the new Corvette adopted a rear roofline that tapers toward the stern, evoking the canopy of the F-22 fighter jet and the classic C2U. The muscular rear fins also clearly reference the C2Q, while the stamping on the doors recalls the redesigned versions of the first generations of the 1950s Corvette. A notable change was that the C6 was the first Corvette with exposed headlights in over half a century. Following the cone, the trend of pop-up headlights had lost its appeal by the early 21st century. There was a small group of users dissatisfied with the C5's split grille, who considered it overly large and similar to that of the Pontiac Firebird. This opinion was taken into account, and the hood scoop was enlarged with a single large slit in the front bumper, rather than two. The C6 turned out to be 13 cm shorter and 2 cm narrower than the C5. However, the wheelbase grew by 3 cm, which reduced the overhangs and placed the wheels closer to the corners. The only downside to this size reduction was the decrease in trunk volume. But let's be honest, no one buys a Corvette to haul furniture. The frontal drag coefficient was reduced by 6% to just 0.286. The interior design became more concise and less bulky, with metallic accents brightening the overall decor. Unlike the C5, which was almost entirely black, naturally the designers couldn't leave the mechanics unchanged. The standard engine grew to 6 liters, incorporating a new intake manifold and a 15% increase in the compression ratio, 1 to 10.9. Improvements to the exhaust also contributed to the engine's breathing better. As a result, The power of the new LS2 engine increased from 345 to 400 horsepower, compared to the old LS1, ensuring very solid dynamics by the standards of 20 years ago. Interestingly, the standard LS2 engine of the C6 was only 5 horsepower weaker than the legendary LS6 installed in the top-of-the-line C5 G6. Although the new Corvette was still nominally front-engined, the engine was located within the wheelbase and positioned 2 cm lower than in the C5, which improved the modern center of gravity. The list of cooling system improvements was also extensive. As in the previous generation, the transmission was implemented under the transaxle layout, with the gearbox forming a single unit with the transaxle. A 6-speed manual or a modern 6-speed automatic 6-lady was offered. Importantly for the CI, the manual cost extra. But in the CI, among other innovations, a power folding soft top option was added in 2005, the first time since 1962. This meant that the standard C6 was not significantly different in power and weight from the top specs G6 of the previous generation, both accelerating to 60 mph in just over 4 seconds. What had previously been an exclusive extra was now available as standard, representing significant progress. In 26th generation Corvette gained its own G6 nameplate. The previous C5 mix was already a formidable track machine. The next generation engineers, led by Dave Hill, decided to improve it beyond belief. To reduce weight, aluminum hydroforming technology was developed for chassis elements. Magnesium alloy was used in the carbon fiber front fenders. The aluminum chassis weighed 62 kg less than a standard steel one. The floor panels were made from a balsa wood composite, an advanced technology for the mid-2000s. Despite the heavier engine and larger brakes, the new Z6 was only 7 kg heavier than the previous lightweight G6, a negligible weight difference offset by the increase in power. Under the hood was a naturally aspirated V8, specially developed for this version. The LS7. It became the largest production small block engine ever produced by General Motors, with 505 horsepower and 637 Nm of torque. It incorporated technologies never before used by the company in mass production, such as titanium connecting rods and a dry sump lubrication system, all for extreme track performance. All engines were assembled by hand, a rarity for a car with a base price of just $66,000. With upgraded brakes and revised aerodynamics, car and driver tests yielded impressive figures: 6 seconds from 0 to 60 mph and 11.7 seconds in the quarter mile. With these metrics, the Corvette became a serious contender in the international road-going supercar market. In 2008, the Zrone became the first member of the family to break the 200 mph barrier. Its price of over $100,000 was also a record. The Zrone's LS3 engine received a reinforced crankshaft and a 2.3-liter supercharger, resulting in the new LS9 engine, which developed an impressive 638 horsepower. Like the LS7, each LS9 was hand-assembled and equipped with a dry sump lubrication system, making it the most powerful engine in the LS family. The Zrone was the first Corvette with an aluminum-filled chassis. Its structure was based on that of the GX6, but the use of carbon fiber was significantly expanded. In addition to the front fender panels, the front and rear spoilers, the roof, and the hood, which featured a viewing window for the engine, were made of carbon fiber. Added to this setup were ceramic brakes and magnetic selective ride control suspension with adjustable stiffness dampers. The Zrone became a major player in a fundamentally different field. Judge for yourself. 3.4 seconds from 0 to 60 mph, 11.5 seconds in the quarter mile, and 7 minutes 26 seconds at the Nürburgring. In terms of dynamic characteristics, including its Nürburgring time, the Zrone bested the 2008 Porsche 911 GT2. However, the American sports car cost almost twice as much at the dealership as the GT2. It's remarkable how the engineers managed to create a car that, although some local experts considered it only capable of straight-line acceleration, outperformed established competitors on one of the world's most iconic tracks. Most importantly, no one on the market offered such speed for that price. Of course, Porsche offered a higher quality interior finish and superior overall assembly, but at this point, the customer decided what to prioritize. Just recently, in July, the new 2025 Seat Zrone debuted. Its engine was powered by a 5.5-liter twin-turbo V8 with 1064 horsepower and 123 Nm of torque. But back to the 6th generation, which was preparing to retire by 2014. The model had amassed an impressive number of special editions and exclusive versions in its arsenal, including the Ron Fellows Edition, the American Le Mans 427 Limited Edition Z6, the G-Tone Championship Edition, the GSX Carbon Limited Edition, the Centennial Edition, and the 60th Anniversary Edition, among 2 other special editions. Even with this number, the 6th generation Corvette was on the assembly line from the 2005 model year to 2013. The record sales year was 2007, when more than 40,000 cars found owners. In 2014, a total of 25,220 examples were produced, and the baton was passed to the new 7, which resurrected the iconic name. Stingray. The C6 didn't revolutionize the life of the model, but its designers managed to leverage all the advantages of the chassis. The C6's design proved to be authentically American, down to the last screw. At the same time, the C6 forced foreign manufacturers to stretch themselves, ruthlessly invading a territory where an increase of a few dozen horsepower commands another similar car at the same price. The C6 is a new world automotive monument, with hand-assembled engines, artist-painted body panels, and that same transverse leaf spring at the rear. Its engineers proved that it is possible to surpass what has already been invented, offering all this at a price that, for others, would be just the cost of a redesign or an exclusive color. We've reached the end of this video. Comment in the comments, like the video, subscribe and activate the bell to enjoy future videos like this one. See you next time.